Every year, millions of immigrants come to America chasing a dream of opportunity, a dream of a better life, a dream of something more. But what many don't realize is that the journey is filled with confusion, legal traps, and costly mistakes. That's why this show exists, helping immigrants achieve the American dream without the nightmares. This is the Immigrant Survival Show. Hello, and welcome to the Immigrant Survival Show with Ope Banwo. Listen, if you are going to fight immigration battles in America, don't bring a puppy, bring a Rottweiler. Welcome again to the Immigrant Survival Show. My name is Dr. Ope Banwo, an immigration attorney with over 29 years of experience fighting for immigrants when it matters most. In immigration court, in the workplace, and when accidents or legal crises threaten to turn the American dream into a nightmare. Fighting for immigrants is not just what I do, it is who I am. Because I don't back down, I don't let go, and I don't quit on my clients. Many of them, because of that, they call me the Immigration Rottweiler. Hopefully tonight, you are going to be having a great show with me as we begin to unravel some of the complexities of the American immigration system. This is going to be a very educative show for those of you who are interested, either you're in America as an immigrant, you're intending to come to America as an intending immigrant. This is going to be a very educated show for you. You want to do me a favor right now? You want to share the link of this show to some of your friends right now, those who are in America, American immigrants, or those who are planning to come. Let them come here and learn things that can help them achieve their American dreams without experiencing the nightmares that often goes with it. So here's my opening rant for today. And I want to tell you something that you may not like, but that you need to hear. The American dream is real, but for immigrants, it's also a battlefield. And on this battlefield, people don't lose because they are lazy. They lose because they guessed, they delayed, they listen to the wrong people, or they try to fight the immigration battle alone. And immigration does not forgive mistakes. It punishes them. I see it every single day in my last 29 years doing this. Good people, hardworking people, losing their status, losing opportunities, facing deportations, not because they didn't try, but because they didn't have the right strategy. And here's the truth. Most people discover too late in America. When your case gets complicated, when your future is on the line, you don't need more advice. You need a fighter. You need someone who will hold the line, push back when necessary, and who refuses to quit until the job is done. So if you are watching this right now, and you know your situation is not simple, or you just want to make sure that you don't make a costly mistake, don't wait until things go wrong. You want to go to banwolaw.net and book a strategy session, or go to speakwithope.com and book your strategy session right now. Let's take a real look at your case and map out your best path forward. Because when it matters most, you don't need a spectator. You need a Rottweiler. All right? That's about me. Enough about that. Now, let's go into what really matters to you this week. Because immigration is changing every day. And if you're not paying attention, you fall behind quickly. Oh, yeah. When you're not paying attention, you fall behind very quickly. And so when we come back, we are going to be taking the very first segment of this show. I call it the Banwo Immigration Brief, where I brief you on everything new that is just happening in immigration for this week. I'll be breaking down the top immigration developments of the week, the ones that could affect your status, that could affect your case, or your future in America. So please stay with me as I play some commercial breaks, just a few videos before we come back and we take this on. Here we go.
Immigration Survival Show with attorney Ope Banwo. Wake-up call. Stop making these immigration mistakes. Let me tell you the truth. Most people won't tell you. Immigrants are not just losing their cases because of the system. They're losing because of bad advice, wrong decisions, and dangerous ignorance.
And in immigration law, one mistake can cost you everything.
This show exists for one reason: helping immigrants achieve the American dream without the nightmares. Pay attention. This could save your future.
I did not come to America looking for opportunity. I came here running for my life. Soldiers were looking for me in Nigeria because I spoke out against a military dictator. But when I finally arrived in America, I was too afraid to even ask for help. See, in the early 1990s, Nigeria was under a military dictatorship led by one General Ibrahim Babangida, and I was a young lawyer and a pro-democracy activist speaking out against the regime. After organizing a national conference on the role of women in the promised Third Republic, a democracy that the dictator had promised but later reneged on, I was arrested and briefly jailed for about 10 days. When I was released, everything in my life practically began to collapse. My business, my peace of mind, my ability to live normally. Soldiers were looking for me. I lived every day wondering if I would be arrested again or maybe simply shot, as many were. That's it. That's part one of why I fight for immigrants. And as the show goes on, I'm going to be showing you different parts of that, my personal story of how I came to America and how I end up where I am, defending and fighting for immigrants all over America, because I've been there, done that. I've been in the fire. I know the story. I know the war. I've been victorious, and I can help you to be victorious. So welcome back to the Immigrant Survival Show with Ope Banwo. And in this section, we're going to be talking about the Banwo Immigration Brief. And this is where I break down what's happening in the U.S. immigration right now in plain English, so you don't get caught off guard. Because, and listen to me, in immigration law, what you don't know can hurt you very fast. People will tell you what you don't know can't hurt you. They don't know what they're talking about. What you don't know can hurt you badly. Oh, yeah. So we're going to be talking about new developments in immigration this week. And I'm going to be talking about 5 new developments that every immigrant needs to understand. And that leads me to update number 1. Update number 1 for the week. Let me see if I have my slide here. Yes, ICE officers are now at the airports. In case you don't know yet, in case you have not heard, ICE officers are now at the airports all over America. So what exactly is going on? And this is my first update, and it's already making a lot of people nervous. The government has deployed ICE officers to major airports. And why is that? Because part of the Department of Homeland Security has been shut down, and there are not enough officers to handle airport security. So now ICE is stepping in. What does this mean for you? Let me simplify it for you in case you haven't gotten it. You may now see immigration officers at airports, not just TSA. there may be more questioning. There might be more questioning for travelers, including you. If your status is shaky, friend, this is not the time to take risk traveling. And let me say this very clearly. Airports are now higher risk zones for undocumented immigrants or people with pending issues, especially criminal issues, because from there they can take you and you are straight up in deportation without bond, especially if you have some criminal issues, whether resolved or unresolved, you don't get bond. So here's my advice on this update. If your immigration status is not clean, avoid unnecessary travel, even domestic travel, until you speak to a competent lawyer so that they can advise you whether this is a good idea for you to travel or something you need to shelve for now. Update number 2 of the week. And this is a sort of a good news for us. Court has stopped government from cutting appeal time. And this one is a big win for immigrants. See, in case you have not been following, the government had tried to reduce the time to appeal deportation orders from 30 days to just 10 days. Normally, when you get an order of deportation or get an order against you in immigration court, you have 30 days. Immigration court or immigration DHS, you have 30 days to appeal. But they want to cut it to 10 days. Think about that. From 1 month to just 10 days to save your life in America. But God so good, a federal court stepped in and said, no, you can't rush immigrants like that. So the 10-day rule has been blocked. What does this mean for immigrants? You still have more time to fight your deportation. But the system is still trying to move cases faster overall. So you cannot afford delays or sloppy lawyering. This is not the time you're emotional about the kind of lawyer you get. You want to get a Rottweiler. You want to get a lawyer that will fight for you in whatever state you are in. So here's my advice. If you get a deportation order, don't wait. Don't panic. Don't file anything yourself without legal guidance. I'm sure that immigration attorneys everywhere you are, even if you can't reach the Rottweiler. I service clients nationwide, and you can always reach me at 888-215-5054 or banwolaw.net, or research your neighborhood and find a good lawyer to help you, because your appeal window is now your lifeline. You don't wait until the last day to start running around. Update number 3. Yes. Supreme Court may cancel TPS for thousands. Of course, not every one of us watching this show are interested in what TPS is, which is the temporary protected status. But for those countries who have it, it has been their lifeline in America. But now the Supreme Court is looking at to possibly approving Donald Trump canceling those TPS for thousands of immigrants. And this one could shake entire communities, especially the Hispanic communities, where many of the countries have been enjoying this temporary protected status for years. Because the Supreme Court has now agreed to hear a case that could determine whether temporary protected status will be taken away from countries like Haiti, Syria, and others. So what does this mean for those of us who enjoy TPS? If the court rules against immigrants, thousands of you could lose your legal rights. People could become deportable overnight. What is preventing them from deporting you now is that TPS in your hands. And more importantly, for most of you, your work permits will disappear the minute they cancel that TPS. So what does this mean for you right now? For those of you on TPS, if you're on TPS or know somebody who is, understand that this is not a permanent protection. Pre-Donald Trump, people have just assumed once they have TPS, they are now protected. No, it is temporary and always at risk. That has always been the law. Donald Trump did not create the law. He's just enforcing it a lot more aggressively than many presidents before him. So it makes no sense just cursing at Donald Trump or abusing him. Focus on what the law says. So here's my advice. If you're a TPS holder, you should start thinking right now, what is your backup immigration strategy in case they cancel it? Because waiting until the program is ended is how people get trapped. Like they say in my native country, Nigeria, and I can paraphrase this for you. They say a war that is pre-announced in advance does not catch a cripple unawares, a wise cripple. Meaning that the minute they announce the war, that war is coming, the cripple will have started running before the war gets there because he knows he cannot move fast. So same way with you, with all this debate, all this stuff going on between immigration and the courts and the Supreme Court, saying they even want to look at it, you know, if you have TPS, that war is coming. So you need to begin to ask yourself, what is my backup plan? Just in case the Supreme Court sides with Donald Trump as they've been doing mostly these days. What am I going to do? That is my update number 3 for you this week. I hope those of you on TPS, you take it to heart and you start to do something right now to save yourself before the war gets to you. Update number 4. You may not be aware of this if you are not in the immigration business or not having problem with immigration, but bond hearings are dropping and detention is increasing. And this is a dangerous update for all immigrants. Bond hearings, which allow detained immigrants to be released, have dropped by 70%. Yeah, let me repeat that. It has dropped by 70%, meaning 70% fewer chances to get out of detention if immigration gets you. I must be asking, what exactly is happening? You know, the government is now pushing mandatory detention policies, especially in states like Texas, Louisiana, Nebraska, and many other states. And this means more people are being held. Fewer people are being released when they catch you. What does this mean for immigrants? It's obvious. If you are detained, it is now much harder to get bond. As a matter of fact, if you came in illegally, they will not give you bond now. Oh yeah, we used to get bonds for all those who came in across the border without visa or anything. Now you will not get a bond. You will be in jail. Why pursuing whatever? Even if you marry an American, you'll be in jail until your case is resolved. For those who have criminal records, no matter how little, no matter how small your criminal record is, if they catch you, you are going to be in jail until your case is resolved. Even if you are now married to an American and you have possibility of getting green card, until that green card is processed, they're going to keep you in jail. It means now you may stay locked up longer. Your case becomes harder to fight once they get you. So here is my advice on this update. And this is what I always tell immigrants. Don't wait until you are in trouble before you get legal advice. Because once you are in detention, your options shrink very fast. Oh yes, once you are in detention, your options shrink in today's immigration environment. So you need to be talking to a lawyer now if you know you are illegal, if you know your status has expired. Don't wait until they get their hands on you. It's not pretty. It has been alarming what has been happening in the last few weeks, last few months. Bond that we used to get in a routine way, 5,000 bond, 10,000 bond, even 1,000 bond. They are telling us no bond at all. And it's just crazy. You don't want to be in that situation. Start working on your case now so that you can prevent this. My update number 5 for this week. And this is some good news for those of us who are waiting for movement in the visa bulletin, which is the time that it takes to adjust depending on the category that you're applying for. Some green cards are now moving faster. And I guess we need to balance the bad news with some good news. The April bulletin, the visa bulletin for April, shows progress in employment-based green cards, especially for EB2 in India that used to hang for years, and China for EB1 and EB5. It has moved tremendously forward. So you want to check the visa bulletin if you're one of those who are waiting for visa availabilities, depending on what you file for. It has moved positively forward for this month. So check it out. What does this mean for you? It means that some people who have been waiting for years may now file their green cards and applications, move forward faster. And this is especially important, this update, for skilled immigrants. If you are highly skilled, if you are working in the US or planning to migrate, this could be your window of opportunity, because the visa bulletin has jumped from many categories. And here is my own Banwo advice on this one. Immigration is timing. When your window opens, you must move fast, because when it closes, it may not reopen for years. I remember when I was practically begging qualified immigrants to apply for EB2, employment-based green card, second category. Many of them even made it look like I am trying to hustle them to collect their money. And I keep saying EB2 is current now. If you have a master's degree or you have graduated for more than 5 years in the college, this may be your opportunity to apply for your green card, EB2 NIW, because it can regress anytime. Some listen, most did not. They keep saying, oh, we're going to do it next week, we're going to do it next week. Then we woke up one day and it has regressed. Then it regressed 1 year, it regressed 2 years, meaning that even if they file and get approved today, they can't file their papers for 2 years. So when your window opens, you must act very fast. So check the visa bulletin or book an appointment with speakwithope.com so that we can look at the bulletin together, see if your category has now moved forward. Or if you know it has moved forward and you can apply now, do not waste time, because it can regress again, and this time I go back 5 years, meaning that instead of doing it immediately, you may have to wait 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. That's my advice. So that is the immigration update for this week. And for those of you who are following, continue to follow me on my blog, opebanwo.net or banwolaw.net. We have a blog there where I publish daily articles to help you get abreast of what is happening in America. In immigration, early actions beats last-minute regret. And that's my Banwo immigration briefing for this week. Now listen, if you think those updates were important, wait until you hear what I'm about to break down next. Because when we come back, I'm taking you into this week's Immigration Survival Masterclass. This is one of the few immigration shows where I actually do a masterclass every week, where I take one topic and I break it down for you in a way that everybody listening to me at home can understand. And today's topic is one of the most powerful, most misunderstood visa options in America, especially for business executives and those who own businesses either in America or abroad. It is called the L1 visa. The L1 visa is the business visa that can move you from your company abroad straight into the United States with your wife and your children under 21, and it leads directly to green card. So if you're a business owner or work for one, you do not want to miss the next segment of the Immigration Survival Show with Ope Banwo, because we are going to be talking about the L visa, the L1 visa that can move you and your family from your company abroad straight into the United States. You want to wait and you want to watch that. And when we come back, we will discuss this. This could change your entire immigration strategy. Please don't go anywhere as I come back in about 2 or 3 minutes. And let's watch part 2 of why I came to America.
Every year, millions of immigrants come to America.
Eventually, and I just got married. My newly married wife said something that changed my life forever. She said, "Ope, you need to leave Nigeria for a while. Go somewhere safe. Go to America and calm your mind." Neither of us imagined that decision would change the course of my entire life. So I got a visa, boarded a plane, and came to America, the country that I believed protects those seeking persecution. But when I arrived in New York with less than $150 in my pocket, something unexpected happened. I became paralyzed with fear. The people I stayed with were themselves immigrants like me. Many of them were undocumented and deeply afraid of immigration authorities. They told me stories based on rumors they all be hearing. Stories of people who went to immigration offices and were deported from there. Stories of people who went for interviews and never came back, even though none of them has gone for interviews before. Part 2, and then we will be coming back with part 3 of that as this show progresses. That happens to be my story on how I came to America and why I ended up dedicating my entire life to fighting for immigrants. So now let's go into the third segment of this show, and that is the immigration masterclass for the week, the L1 visa. Okay, now this is one of those visas you hear rumors about, or maybe you have never even heard anything about. It is a visa that can move you from your company abroad, like as I said, straight into the United States, especially if you have business, if you are an executive who occupies a managerial role in your company abroad right now. This might be something that interests you greatly, or even in the US. Let's talk about it. If you're a business owner or you work for one, you don't want to miss this particular segment, right? So let's talk about this. The L1 visa, because some of you probably have never heard of it before, and you're asking yourself, what exactly is the L1 visa? Yeah, I was looking for that slide. Simple explanation of the L1 visa. It is a visa that allows a company abroad to transfer an employee or the owner from another country into the US. So that means if you own a business abroad or you work for a company abroad, that company can send you to the US to open or run a branch here. The emphasis here for the L1 that makes it really good is that most of the focus is on the foreign company, not the American company. Because if you have a business abroad, you can then use yourself as the owner or one of the senior staff, or if you're a senior staff in a company, send that person here to come and open a new office of your company right here in America. And that makes it a very powerful one, because it allows you, your wife and children under 21 to come to the US with permission to work, and then with opportunity to be able to turn that into a green card down the road. So let's break it down. What are the common misunderstanding about the L1? Because a lot of people, they get confused about what exactly the L1 is about. A lot of people think you must be a big company, but that's not true. Even small businesses can qualify if structured properly. I've filed L1 for companies that are not big at all. So you don't have to be a big company to file for L1. That is a misconception. Why is this visa so powerful? It is not like lottery. You don't have to do lottery like H1B. It is fast to process, especially if you have the money to pay for premium processing. Within 14 working days, you can get an answer to your visa, to your application. This visa is also powerful because it can lead to green card. After 1 year, you can actually then apply for your green card for yourself, your spouse, and your children under 21. This visa is also great because with it, your spouse can work, your children can go to school. Another thing people get wrong about this visa, and this is where people mess up. They think they can use fake companies, poor documentation, wrong structure, trying to do it themselves, and that is why many L1 cases get denied, even though it's supposed to be one of the easiest visas to get for the big boys. The L1 visa is not just an application. It is a business strategy. If structured properly, it can become your legal pathway to America, and that is why I am treating it as the masterclass for this week. Now, let me break it down a little bit more for you. There are two types. Let me break it down a little bit. Okay, let's go to why it's powerful for you and your family. As I said, it allows you to do so many things. It gives you a lot of versatility. It allows you, very importantly, to tap into the American system without having to play the H1B lottery. It is fast to process. Less than 21 days, you will get your visas answered, your decided on if you do premium processing. It can lead to green card. Your spouse can work. Your children can go to school. How beautiful is that? Your children can go to school as residents without having to pay the high foreign fees. And that is why the big boys love this visa, because it gives them so many opportunities to be able to, how will I call it, to be able to tap into the American system. So here, you must understand that the L1 visa is not just an application. It is a business strategy. If you structure it well, it can become your legal pathway for you and your family into America. Now, as you listen to me, I know as I'm saying this, some of you already have questions in your mind. Can I qualify? What about my situation? What if my case is different? Good. Those are good questions to have. Because when we come back, we are going to go into the section called Ask Dr. Anything, where I answer the most important immigration questions of the week, including questions about the L1. And trust me, some of these questions are exactly what you have been thinking about. And some of the answers will shock you, will encourage you, or will set you straight. So when we come back, after this break, we will Ask Dr. Ope Banwo anything you can. But before we go, I want to talk a little bit more about this L1, because a lot of people get it wrong by not doing it properly, by trying to do it themselves. It's a technical visa in as straight as it is, because it involves a company in Nigeria that you already have, and your company must have been in existence for more than 3 years. You yourself must have worked for that company for at least 1 year, and that company must have some stability in the foreign country. So all of this need to be documented well by your lawyer. So you don't want to mess it up by trying to do it yourself. A lot of people, especially in African countries, they think they can get away with using fake companies. You don't need to use a fake company, because even if you yourself don't own a company that may want to start a branch here, you have an uncle, you have brothers, you have people, you have legitimate ways to be able to get a company with stability in the foreign country to be able to sponsor you, to help them start a US branch of their office. So you don't need to use a fake company, because they investigate now. Another thing people get wrong about L1 is poor documentation. or like most American type of paperwork these days. They are investigated. They are Zoom. Immigration are Zoom right now that most countries, especially from African countries, are involved in fraud. So they are going to investigate everything that you file. So you don't want to do poor documentation. Even if your company is real, if your company is genuine, I've seen cases denied after they came to me, they showed me all their papers and I laughed, even though they could have qualified first time because of poor documentation. You want to get a proper attorney, not a notarial, not a paralegal, to help you put the documentation together. Another thing a lot of people get wrong about this visa is they use the wrong structure. America wants to know if your company abroad wants to get L1 to send you here or send any of your senior officers here to operate a new office of your company or an existing office, they want to be sure that the Nigerian company or the Ghanaian company or the Egyptian company that you're coming from is not going to go down because you are coming to America. L1 is not for you to relocate your Nigerian company or Ghanaian company to America. It is for you to come and start a branch of that company in America with the ones abroad still operating effectively. So the structure of your foreign company is very important. They want to see that it's properly structured, that when you are removed from the process, because you're in America trying to create a new branch or run a new branch for that company, that the foreign company is still going to be operational. They want to see that it's not just a husband and wife setup, so that when you and your wife come here on L1 visa, the Nigerian company or the Ghanaian company or the South African company collapses. So you need help. And I've had lots of clients. I've had a client that makes more than £1 billion naira every month in Nigeria, more than £1 billion. They're in the oil business. But their company is not structured well to be able to pass the L1 scrutiny because it's just himself and his wife, and he just pays people here and there to do the transactions for him without a proper documentation about salary, about who is reporting to who is the deputy managing director, who is the manager, who is the admin. So all of that needs to be properly structured if it's not done right now. And I've also seen company that was not making more than 20 million naira a month who passed L1. Why? Because they were structured well. So wrong structure is another way people get this wrong. And you need a professional, definitely a lawyer, who can help you make sure whatever you have on ground now, if it's not good enough, they can then help you structure it properly. A lot of people try to do this thing themselves, and that is why they get denied. And I want to encourage you, you don't want to do that. So here is what I call the Rottweiler's strategic insight into the L1. The L1 visa is not just an application. It is a business strategy. This is the third time I'm repeating that. If structured properly, it can become an awesome legal pathway for you, your family to America. And if you do own the company, you can even use it to help a lot of your lawyer staff, senior staff, to get to America. But it has to be done right with the help of the right professional. So if you would like to talk about this, please go book a call with me at speakwithope.com. Speakwithope.com so that we can talk about this. I can give you strategic advice over our 1 hour consultation, which we can do on Zoom or in person if you are close enough to be able to come to my office in Dallas or New York. But if you are far away, then let's do it on Zoom. I know many of you are saying, wow, is this really possible for me, especially if you're a senior executive in a company out there, or you have a company like many medium to middle class and higher middle class in Nigeria has. You've had a company for years and you don't even understand that this might be your pathway to get into America legally, beyond all the noise. So go book that appointment and let's talk about it. I know all those questions that you have. Can I qualify? What about my situation? What if my case is different? and all questions that are not even related to L1 that you have right now. When we come back, we are going to go into that segment. That segment is called Ask Dr. Ope Banwo Anything, where I answer the most important questions that you have for me on this week's show. Please don't go away. We're going to come back. We're going to take some of your questions on the L1 visa, and then we're going to take general questions about anything that you want to talk to me about as far as immigration case is concerned. I'll be back after this commercial.
Immigration Survival Show with attorney Ope Banwo. Wake-up call. Stop making these immigration mistakes. Let me tell you the truth. Most people won't tell you. Immigrants are not just losing their cases because of the system. They're losing because of bad advice, wrong decisions, and dangerous ignorance.
And in immigration law, one mistake can cost you everything.
This show exists for one reason: helping immigrants achieve the American dream without the nightmares. Pay attention. This could save your future.
I knew I could apply for asylum, but everyone around me kept saying the same thing. Don't show up. If you go there, they will deport you. This was 1995. There was no internet, no easy way to research the law for myself. So like many immigrants today, though they have internet, I was forced to rely on rumors, fear, and bad advice. For months, I lived in hiding. I had law degrees, 3 of them, years of professional experience, and a very strong record of political activism. Yet, there I was in America, afraid to step aside, unable to work legally, wondering if I had made the worst mistake of my life. At some point, I seriously considered going back to Nigeria and simply taking my chances with the military government that had been hunting me. Then one morning, I woke up and asked myself a very simple question. Ope, are you going to live the rest of your life in fear? There and then, I decided that whatever will happen, I will face it. So I went to the immigration office in downtown New York and asked for the asylum application. 2 weeks later, I received a letter summoning me for an immigration interview. Pandemonium broke out. Everyone around me told me not to go. Yes, everybody was afraid for me. They begged me not to go. They said it was a trap. But I'd made up my mind. I'd made my decision. So I showed up. I told my story. I showed the asylum officer the newspaper articles documenting my persecution and the wanted notices that soldiers had posted on my door back home that my wife had graciously sent to me by courier before the interview. A few weeks later, after that interview, I received a letter in the mail. My asylum had been granted. Overnight, my life changed from fear to hope. Suddenly, the same people who had warned me not to go were now asking me to help them fill out their immigration papers. My name is Ope Banwo, and they call me the Immigration Rottweiler. Not because I bark, not because I make noise, but because I don't let go. When your case gets tough, when the system pushes back, when others start telling you there is nothing we can do, that's when you call me. Because once I lock into your case, I don't stop, I don't quit, and I don't back down until we get results. So go book a consultation on speakwithope.com now, and let's activate the Rottweiler mode on your case before the immigration knocks on your door. But as I began researching more,
They fear him. Clients trust him. The Immigration Rottweiler.
let me warn you about one letter from immigration that has destroyed thousands of immigration cases in America. It is called an RFE, a request for evidence. When immigration sends you an RFE, it means immigration officers believe something important is missing from your case. Maybe documents are incomplete, maybe your evidence is weak, maybe they suspect something is wrong, and these days, maybe they just want you to explain some more. And here's the danger. If you respond incorrectly or miss the deadline, your case can be denied immediately. No second chances. At Banwo Law, we see this problem all the time. People file immigration cases themselves, or they rely on bad advice from people who don't even have papers. Then they panic when an RFE arrives. But the truth is, an RFE can often be fixed if you respond the right way with the right immigration lawyer. So if immigration has sent you an RFE today, do not guess. Call Banwo Law today at 888-215-5054. Book session now at speakwithope.com to book an appointment now. We represent clients nationwide. Let an experienced attorney review your case before a small mistake becomes a permanent immigration disaster. Call us now. Alrighty, welcome back to Immigration Survival Show with Ope Banwo. In this new segment, we are going to be talking now in this segment about Ask Dr. Banwo, where I'm going to be answering real immigration questions from real people in plain English so that you don't make costly mistakes. And today's questions are powerful, especially if you are thinking about working, investing, or building a future in America. So pay attention and be sending those questions in. As you bring them in, we will pull it up and we will talk about it. First, let's take the questions that you sent in concerning the L1 that I just spoke about. So the first question here is, can a small business qualify for an L1 visa, or does it have to be a big company? This is coming from Ekpo D. Well, certainly a small business can absolutely qualify, because this is one of the biggest myths I see. People think L1 is a multinational corporation thing, but that's not really true. What immigration is looking for is not just size. They are looking for a real, active, and properly structured business. So if your company abroad is operating, making money, serving customers in your country, and is properly documented or can be properly documented, then it may qualify. But let me warn you, to be honest, a small, real business is fine, but a fake or paper business is a problem, because this will be investigated after you file, and that is where many people get denied. So if you are going to be doing this, it's okay to have a small real business as long as it can be put together properly. You'll be okay. Don't try to fake it. And you can book an appointment with me right now at speakwithope.com for us to talk about that, your business, and whether it can qualify you, your wife, and your children for this L1 visa that I'm talking about. It is one of the secret weapons. I call it one of the secret weapons of the big boys, or those who have businesses abroad. By abroad, I mean in outside America, who would like to come to America with that company. L1 can be one of the lifesavers, has been, that many people are not even aware that they can qualify for, especially those who have been running businesses for years, or those who occupy top business executive position. Here's the second question. Do I have to own the business myself to qualify for L1? That's what Ose has to ask. And I think that's a very, very important question because and I get that all the time. No, you don't have to own the business yourself. You don't have to own that business because you can qualify in two main ways. Either as a business owner, the person who owns the business or majority of the business or shares in the business, or a key employee who is being transferred from Nigeria, for example, or Ghana or Tunisia to come to America to come and open a branch of that foreign or Nigerian company. So even if you don't own the company, but you work for the company abroad and they are transferring you to the US office, either to work in the US office that they've already created or to create a new one for the Nigerian company or the foreign company, you may still qualify. What matters is your role, not just ownership. So if you have a business in London or you have a business in anywhere outside US, Mexico, wherever, and you want to start a branch of it in the US for the L1, is okay as long as you are either one of the owners and you don't even have to be the majority owner, or one of the executives that is working in the company. I hope you get that. And that takes us to Tomiwa, question 3 on the thread. It says, I'm a bit confused. What is the difference between L1A and L1B? Very good question, because L1A, L1 visa actually has 2 types, which, of course, when I was doing the masterclass, I don't think I remember to mention. There are 2 types or 2 categories of the L1 visa. There's the L1A, which is for managers and executives of that foreign company. Then there's the L1B, which is for what is called specialized knowledge workers. Those who have special knowledge about the operations of that company. So L1 means you are leading, you are supervising, and you are making decisions at a high level. That's for managers and executives. L1B is for those who have deep knowledge of the company's systems, their products, or their operations. For instance, the IT person, the person who handles the technical aspects of the company, the person who is versatile, most versatile about the accounting of the company, who has deep knowledge of their systems, their operations. That will be an L1B position, regardless of whatever position they give you. So why does this matter? Because your documents, your strategy, and even your green card path may depend on which one of these 2 options for L1 that you choose, either L1A or L1B. This is not guesswork. This is where strategy comes in. And that is why it is important for you to book a call with your lawyer or book a call with me if you'd like to talk to me about this at where is that link? At speakwithope.com. You want to book your appointment right there, right now, and then we can talk about this and the different strategies that you need to deploy for this. All right, please keep these questions coming. Right now, we are taking some questions on L1, but you can also ask questions that has nothing to do with L1. I'm just picking the L1 first before we go to the other side, because L1 is our masterclass for this week. We take a couple more questions on the L1, and then we start taking your general questions. Odun wants to know, can I open a new office in America using the L1 visa? Can I open a new office in America using the L1 visa? Of course, my answer will be yes, and this is one of the most powerful uses of the L1 visa. You can actually come to the US to open a new office. That was, you didn't have an office in America before. You only have an office that is thriving in your home country, that is called the foreign country, which might be Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, wherever, and then you want to use that company that is in Africa or in Europe or in the Far East or wherever your company is to come and open a new branch office in America. But here is the catch. Immigration wants to see proof that there's a real business plan, not just an idea to come to America, which is part of what you are going to get when you are filing your L1 application. Your lawyer will also help you either by himself or work with professionals to help you come up with a real business plan. Or you can come up with a real business plan yourself if you don't want to pay for that separately. That means you must have a business plan about how you want to run that business in America. You must have office space that you're planning to use for that business. You must have funding to run that business in America. They're not going to take the funding from you, but they want to see it in your American account for that new company you just set up. You must also have a clear strategy. Because if they think you're just coming to hustle and survive, you just want to get a green card or a work permit to come to America, not to really start a real company, they're going to deny you. They want to see that you actually have a real plan and are able to execute that plan to set up that your branch company that you want to set up in America. If they don't think that's what you want to do because you can't produce a good business plan, you have not made arrangement for office that you're going to be using when you get here, you don't even have any money to put in as capital for that your US company, and you have no clear strategy, they're going to deny it. And that, again, is why you need to get a thoroughbred professional who has been doing this, who has done this successfully, like those of us at Banwo and Associates. Myself especially, I specialize in the L1 visa class. You want to first have a consultation. It's only $100. Go to speakwithope.com so that we can take an hour to break it down for you, explain the strategies to you, ask questions about your company, just to make sure you are qualified to do this before you start having hope that this might be the solution for you, your wife, and your children under 21. Of course, here is the next question that I think is in everybody's mind. Because at the end of the day, most who want to come to America, they want to see, can I get green card? In fact, many of those who have businesses that are thriving in their country of origin probably can get a visitor's visa by themselves. But they are looking for something where they don't have to be applying for visa all the time, or where they can get green card for their children or for their wife or for themselves. So the question, can the L1 visa lead to green card, is a very, very important question. And the answer is yes. And one of the reasons why the L1 is so powerful. For many people, especially L1 managers, there's a pathway to green card through the L1 that we call the EB1C. And that is a very strong route. But let me say this very carefully and clearly too. Just because the visa can lead to a green card does not mean your case will automatically get there. It must be structured correctly from day one. Immigration is not luck or prayers. It is planning. So you have to be ready to work with a thoroughbred professional who knows what he is doing. It's not every lawyer that knows how to structure L1 properly. Some of them can even help you at the front end and maybe you get a visa, but then you get stuck about trying to turn it to green card 1 year after the fact. So you want to make sure you check your lawyers out thoroughly. You do a consultation, ask all the questions that you have, because we can't take all the questions here now. In fact, that's all I can take today on the L1 side, because we have so many questions from people who want to talk about other immigration problems other than L1. Not everybody will qualify for L1. Not everybody has businesses abroad. Not everybody is occupying a managerial role or a technical role in their company. So that's all we can take, but I'll be happy to answer as many questions as I can for you. You can send me your questions at info@banwolaw.net, and we will respond to you as far as this is concerned. Okay, and you can book an appointment, speakwithope.com, so that we can do a one-on-one discussion on Zoom or in our offices if you happen to be in the US, and you can get to our offices. All right, let's move out from L1 to other questions that you have been posting that you have on this show today. And here is one from Gladys W. What is the difference between H1B, L1, EB2, and EB3? That is a complex question in one. What is the difference between H1B, L1, EB2, and EB3? Many of you have probably never even heard of any of these visas, but these are some of the most powerful visas out there that can get you green card, that can get you permission to work in America from day one. Many know about H1B, which is difficult, more difficult now, because Donald Trump has now put a $100,000 fee. So you have to have a lot of money or have a company that has a lot of money or who really wants you before they will file H1B for you, because $100,000 is not pepper soup. Some of you, if you have $100,000, you're not going to want to come to America anyway. So I'm not going to talk much about H1B on this show at all, because for most people, it's out of their reach. And then for a foreign company to hire you and want to pay a filing fee of $100,000 in addition to the normal filing fees, in other words, they're going to be spending almost $110,000 just to bring you in to come and work in their company. That's a lot of money. Most companies are not going to do it. Okay? And so that's H1B. But the question wants to know, what is the difference between H1B, L1, EB2, and EB3? And again, this must be a question from somebody who has a little bit of knowledge about how these things work. So, because the names confuse a lot of people. But I'm going to try to simplify it, because that's how the Immigration Rottweiler rules. H1B is a temporary work visa. Often it's lottery-based. In other words, even though you have all the qualifications, you have a college degree minimum, and you have a company that is willing to hire you, you have to submit your application. All of that is put into a lottery, and based on that, they pick out the number for the year, which is, I think they have 85,000 visas that they give every year. So it's lottery-based. You have to be a graduate, and you must have a company that is employing you. And it used to be a very simple thing to do until Donald Trump put in an extra $100,000 surcharge for any company that want to bring in an H1B worker. And that, I think, is literally going to kill that visa category, or make it only something that Facebook or Twitter or Google will be applying for their workers. What is L1? L1 is a company transfer visa. They call it intra-company transfer. So L1 is a visa where a company that exists in your country of origin or where you live wants to transfer an employee to the US to start a new branch of their company or to work in a branch of their company that they already have in the US. And that's the one we use as our master class for today. It's a very, very powerful visa. It's a visa, I call it one of the 5 big boy visas. And it leads directly to green card for yourself, your wife, and your children under 21. Again, if you want to talk about that, you want to book an appointment and speak with Ope.com. EB2 is the green card for advanced degree or high-level professionals. I think maybe next week we are going to have a master class on the EB2, because this is a great visa, one of the best out there, in the sense that it allows you to get a green card or to immigrate into the US with ability to work with your wife and your children under 21. If you have an advanced degree, meaning that you have at least a master's degree, or you have graduated for more than 5 years, or you are a high-level professional in your field, even if you don't have a degree, you have occupied a high-level operation for about 10 years in your profession, even if you don't have a university degree. So the 3 types of people qualify: those who have master's degree and above, those who have graduated for more than 5 years. In other words, you have more than 5 years after graduation in your first degree, or you don't even have a degree, but you have attained a high level of professionalism in your field for up to 10 years. And then, of course, there are other qualifications that go in there, but that's the main one for you to get this EB2. It gets you the green card, or it gets you the permission to come in with papers to work from day one. It gives you and your family a green card. It is one of the most powerful visas out there. Employment-based visa Number 2 is called EB2. Then EB3 is the green card for skilled and professional workers. The difference between EB2 and EB3 is that EB3, you have to do what they call labor certification. And it takes a while, takes a lot of effort, where you have to first show the company that you're coming to work with, and you must have a company that is employing you for EB3. And that company must show that they have not been able to find an American who is willing and ready to do the work they want to hire you for. So it's not, and then it also has a longer waiting period than EB2. EB2, on the other hand, you don't even need an employer if you are doing the national interest waiver option, meaning that you don't need a company to sponsor you. You can sponsor yourself, and then you'll be able to come in and get your green card with your wife and your children. That's EB2. That I said is one of the most popular and one of the most effective, potent visas, and a lot of people are not even aware of it. Okay, so that's the difference between the H-1B, L-1, EB3. So in simple terms, H-1B and L-1, for instance, are temporary work permits that you can turn to green card down the road, especially for the L-1. EB2 and EB3 are permanent visas that gives you direct green path to direct path to green card. Each one of them has different rules, different timing, and different risk. And you have to study them to know which one applies the most to you. So it's part of why you either do some research, or better still, and I think that is the best option, talk to a lawyer in this field like me. You can book an appointment and speak with Ope.com, and let us help you look at this and be able to determine which one is the most appropriate for you. All right, let's look at the next question here. Please keep posting your questions. Even if I don't get to all your questions today, my staff are compiling it, and we will put it as part of the Q&A for our next broadcast, so that we can be sure we answer all your questions, because we can't possibly take all of them. But here's another one here. It says that if I have a job offer in the US, does that mean I automatically qualify for a visa? If I have a job in the US, does that mean I automatically qualify for a visa? No, now. Getting a job is totally different from getting a visa. And this is where many people get disappointed. A job offer is not enough. The fact that you got somebody that give you employment, maybe your brother or sister, or maybe you apply to a company and the company thinks your resume is good enough and they give you a job, that doesn't automatically mean you qualify for a visa. It's one of the requirements that you have just gotten. Immigration will still want to know what category fits that job that you got. The job you got, is it as an IT person? Is it as a cleaner? Is it as a lawyer? Is it as a manager? So the immigration will still want to know what visa category that fits. A lawyer will help you sort that out. Whether you qualify for that visa category, because it's not just the letter of employment that qualifies you. There are other things that go into every visa. And then immigration will want to know whether your employer meets the requirements to be able to bring you to the US. Remember, I said something about EB3 before. For instance, an employer may have an employee they want to bring from America, from Nigeria, or from Ghana, or from Sudan, right? But it does not mean automatically they're going to give you a visa, because your employer still have to do what is called labor certification. It has to show that there are no employees available and ready to do that work in America that they are offering you. So that letter of employment alone does not just qualify you. Another thing to be considered is whether the timing is right. Because depending on the visa category, some of them are available right now. Some of them have a waiting period of 5 years. So the fact that somebody has given you a letter of employment for that category does not mean you are going to go get on a plane and get a visa and come here now. So the job offer is just the beginning. It's a great beginning, because that's a very, very big part of most employment-based visas, but it's just a beginning. It is not the approval. I hope you get that, Moy. I think Moy is from Kenya. I hope you get that That answer, I hope that satisfies you. Let's take the next question here. What do we have? Odion, okay, here. Odion says, someone told me I have to go through something called PAM to get the EB3 working visa. But what is PAM in simple English? And is it true it takes a long time? Okay. I know this is the part that is a word that scares many people when you hear the word PAM. So what exactly is PAM in simple English? PAM is basically the government asking you, are there qualified Americans available for this job? Remember? Because before allowing a foreign worker to take that job, the employer must advertise the job, must test the labor, must document the process, and prove that they could not find a suitable worker. That process of doing that, of advertising the job, testing the labor market, interviewing all those who applied, and documenting the process to prove that there is no employer who is ready to do the job is what is called PAM. That process is called PAM. And yes, it can slow things down. But guess what? A lot of people, and you don't have to have big degree to qualify for this. I'll give you an example. Somewhere in rural Nebraska, we have somebody who was trying to start an African restaurant. The place is like 95% white people, and they need a cook. Yeah, you'll be thinking that when you hear this labor certification thing that they are talking about, those with PhD or those with degree, no, a cook, somebody to cook ogbono, somebody to cook African cuisine, but they could not find. And we were able to get a cook from Africa, somebody who lives in your state, to actually be able to come and do that job, got a green card, and was able to bring the wife and children under 21 to come and do that job, because we went through the permanent the labor certification process, through the PAM process, to be able to show that in that Grand Island we could not find a cook who is able to cook all these African cuisines for this restaurant. We advertised the job. Maybe one or two people applied, and then they asked them to cook ogbono. They can cook it. They don't know most of the stuff that is required. So it depends on what the job is. It doesn't have to be high. It doesn't have to be low for you to get this EB3 through the labor certification process. You just have to show that there are no workers around who are willing and able to take that job by going through the PAM process. All right. I hope that explanation is a bit clear. That's a little bit of a technical question. Let's go to Alice. Alice says, what is dual intent and why does it matter? That's also another word that comes in immigration law. Dual intent will get you how will I put this? Dual intent simply means that you can be on a temporary visa while also planning to get a green card. In other words, you have an intent to be a temporary worker while at the same time you want to be permanent. Some visas allow this comfortably, like H-1B. They allow you to have a dual intent. In other words, you are working on a temporary visa, but you have a plan down the road to become a permanent resident. L1 is also, that's what makes L1 good. L1 also allows you to have dual intent. Other visas are more sensitive. And if you get this wrong, you can create problems for yourself when traveling, when renewing or applying. So it's not just legal theory, it's real life strategy. In other words, most visas to US does not allow dual intent. You can't tell us you want to come and visit your brother or you are coming for a conference, but your plan is to stay permanently in America. That is dual intent. They're going to deny you. In fact, that is why when many people apply for a visitor's visa, they ask you to show that you have ties to your country that you do not intend to abandon. In other words, that you do not have a dual intent. You just want to visit and you are planning to come back. And if you cannot convince them, they will deny it. Or if, for instance, you are applying to just come and visit, but you have also filed another application to have permanent residency in America, then they're not going to give you a temporary visitor's visa because you have dual intent. You want to become a citizen, and at the same time you say you just want to go visit, they're going to deny you unless the visa you are applying for is one that allows dual intent, like L1. L1 is a temporary worker visa, but they also understand that those in that can also be applying for green card through different applications. They allow them for that. Many other visas do not allow that, like F1. If you have dual intent, they're going to deny you. If you have a B1, B2, that's the visitor's visa, you have a dual intent, they see that you're already making efforts to be here permanently. Maybe somebody else has filed a green card application for you. Then they're going to deny you that temporary visa one. They're going to say, wait until that application for green card is approved, because you already told us with that application that when you go, you are not planning to come back. But meanwhile, what you are applying for is a temporary visitor's visa. Now, what are you doing? They will deny you. That's why you also talk to lawyers, especially if you have different applications out there. Maybe you have a brother out there, or a sister, or a mother, or a spouse who has filed for a green card for you, but you also want to go and apply for a temporary visitor's visa. Some of those things are not compatible. They're going to deny you. That's what dual intent is about. So you have to talk to a lawyer, make sure that what the visa that you're applying for, or the one they've applied for you abroad, or you're planning to apply for, allows you to have dual intent. Otherwise, you're going to run yourself into problems. So it's not just legal theory. It is real life strategy. And a lot of people get denied at the embassy and they tell you they have dual intent and they don't even understand what people are talking about. You have a son who has filed for green card for you. That is still pending. But you want to go and apply for a visitor's visa. They're going to deny you. If you even get a visa, if you get to the point of entry, they can send you back because your dual intent has already been exhibited. And if the visa in your hand does not allow dual intent, they're going to deny you entry. They're going to send you back. So that's why you want to make sure you don't handle these things yourself. Immigration into America is not something you want to, even if it's just filling form, you don't want to do it yourself these days, because just answering a question wrong can cost you everything. I tell my clients this all the time, and they think, oh, he just wants to collect our consultation money. No. That $100 you are paying for consultation could save you years of anguish, because once they deny you, getting it again is very difficult. Or if they send you back at the point of entry, it may take you years, if ever, to get visa again. So spending $100 to talk to a lawyer and look at all your options for them to advise you properly is a no-brainer. Even if it's not me, talk to a lawyer. Make sure you know what you are doing before you come here. Immigration is no longer pepper soup in America. Even though I still believe America is a nation of immigrants, this is not so much about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is enforcing the laws he met in place. I keep repeating that. For those who are ignorant, they think Donald Trump is the one passing laws. The laws Donald Trump is implementing, excuse me, are laws that have been there for years. They were just not being executed by the former president. In fact, many of the laws giving us problems today were passed during Obama time. Obama, they passed it, but Obama was not implementing it. But the law stayed on the books until Donald Trump. Donald Trump is now saying, no, how can we have laws on the books and we're not executing it? Because as he said, he only wants legal migration into America. He doesn't want illegal migration. Not that he doesn't want immigrants. I keep trying to tell people this one. You can't just be hating on Trump. You got to focus on the law. Most of the laws that Donald Trump is implementing, they are laws that have been on the books of America, some of them for 50 years, 100 years, but nobody was executing them until he came in and said, no, we're going to do this. Obama passed those laws, at least many of them, like that catch and release thing that they were doing. They passed a law, and then instead of executing it, when they arrest you at the point of entry, coming in illegally, instead of prosecuting you or taken to deportation court, they release you. Obama called it catch and release. Then they'll give you a paper and say, come to court 6 months from now. Who will go to court when you already know you're illegal, you don't have any means of getting your papers? So people are disappearing. And Donald Trump came and said, which one is catch and release? Why should I pay immigration officers at the point of entry to arrest people who are coming illegally? And then when you arrest them, you say you are releasing them and then give them paper to come to court 6 months or 9 months from now. And you know they're not going to come. They disappear into the system. So he says, no, when we catch you now, we are not releasing you. We are going to process you for deportation. And everybody wants to hate on Donald Trump. Don't follow them to do that. You want to talk to a lawyer. How do I get my own green card? How do I get my own visitor's visa? How do I get the visa that I need? And you do it right, they will give you. America is not rejecting immigrants. People are getting visas every day. People are coming in every day. They just want you to do it right this time. And that is where you want to be. Let's take the next question here. This person says, why do you always say employment-based immigration is strategy, not just paperwork? Is it not paper you file with immigration? I like that. I think that is that's a good question. I say it all the time that employment-based immigration is strategy, not just paperwork. You can have all the paperwork. If your strategy is wrong, you're going to get denied. That's why I say it, because it's the truth. Immigration is not just about filling forms, people. Not anymore. It's not just about filing forms because you can't. Not anymore. See, it is about choosing the right visa, timing your moves correctly, avoiding mistakes that can ruin your life, planning your long-term path. So it's like chess. It's a strategy. Two people can have the same qualifications. One of them succeeds, the other one gets denied. Do you know what the difference is? Strategy. Strategy. And that is why guidance by an attorney matters. Immigration, you sit down, look at what is available right now, and then choose your pathway to get there. Anybody can fill a form. It's like EB2 that is out there. You fill the I-140 form, you think you can just submit it and you get approved. No. Strategy goes into it. And that is why I always say that. We have to take a short break now. And when we come back, we'll keep taking your questions for a few more minutes. This is a 2-hour show. And we're going to use the rest of the way just taking questions from you and answering your questions. All right? Don't go away. You are watching live Immigration Survival Show with Ope Banwo, where we actually break it down and make sure you achieve your American immigration dreams without the nightmares. And there's a reason they call me the Immigration Rottweiler. When I come back, I'll take the rest of your questions. My name is Ope Banwo, and they call me the Immigration Rottweiler. Why? Because once I take your case, I don't let go. I don't give up. USCI delays, I push for decision. RFEs, I fight back with further and better particulars. Deniers, I challenge the rationale for their decision. Where other lawyers may step back, I step in relentlessly. Why? Because your American immigration dream is not paperwork to me. It's a fight. If you're serious about fighting for your American dream, you already know who to call. Go book a call for a one-on-one legal strategy with me at speakwithope.com, and let's activate the Rottweiler mode in your case. Are you in deportation proceedings? You need to hear this. If you have received a notice to appear or missed an immigration court hearing or fear that ICE is coming for you, what to do next is critical. Many people lose their cases not because they had no options, but because they acted too late or followed bad advice on social media. I'm Ope Banwo, an immigration attorney with over 29 years of experience in immigration law, with over 12,000 cases handled in the process. One thing I have learned in all those years of helping so many people successfully fight their deportation case nationwide across many states is that deportation isn't always automatic just because I charge you to court or want you out of here. Depending on your situation, you may actually qualify for asylum, cancellation of removal, adjustment of status, convention against torture, or some other forms of relief that you have probably never heard of. Also, I know for a fact that immigration court punishes delay in putting your defenses together quickly with an experienced professional. So please click the link below to book a deportation survival strategy consultation session with me today. On this exclusive one-on-one call that we can do either on Zoom or in person at our offices, I will evaluate your case honestly, identify your defenses for you, and help you map out your exact next legal steps to give yourself the best chance to win. Fellow immigrant, doing nothing is not a strategy. Waiting can cost you your case and turn your American dream into a serious nightmare. So take control of your destiny today and book your consultation session now.
They fear him. Clients trust him. The Immigration Rottweiler.
One missed immigration deadline can destroy your entire case. And many immigrants don't realize this until it's too late. Immigration law runs on strict deadlines. When immigration sends you a notice, whether it's a request for evidence, an interview notice, or a response deadline, the clock starts ticking immediately. And here's the danger. If you miss the deadline, immigration can deny your case automatically. No explanation, no second chance. Thousands of immigrants lose valid cases every year simply because they didn't respond on time or didn't understand the notice. At Banwo Law, we help immigrants track deadlines, respond properly to immigration notices, and protect their cases from unnecessary denials. So if immigration has sent you a notice or a deadline, don't ignore it, don't guess. Call Banwo Law today at 888-215-5054 or visit us at speakwithope.com. A missed deadline should never destroy your chance to live legally in America. Call me now. All righty. Welcome back and to the Q&A session. For those of you watching us at home, we appreciate you. Keep your questions coming and let's help you achieve your American immigration dreams without the nightmare. This is Immigrant Survival Show with Ope Banwo. All right, let's keep the questions going. I see here is one from Tanya. It says, I heard ICE officers are now at airports. Can they approach me and arrest me if I travel within the US? 100%. Hey, America, I used to say this kind of thing cannot happen in Nigeria. Sorry, in America anymore. We heard about it in London before, that you can just be going on the street or they can just come into a party and start asking people to show their papers, and if they don't have it, they get them deported. We hear that these things happen in London. We hear that it used to happen in Germany. We used to hear all those things. And those of us in America keep saying that can never happen because we have equal protection under the law. We have the Constitution, blah, blah, blah. But the game has changed. ICE can now arrest you. Walking on the street, they can stop you and say, where's your papers? and you don't have it, they can put you in proceedings. Yes, they can, depending on your situation. Now, let me be clear. Airports are now becoming more sensitive areas because immigration officers may be present, not just the TSA officers. I said that at the beginning of my updates. So if your status is expired, if your status is under investigation, or you have a pending issue, you could be questioned. And in some cases, yes, they can detain you. Even for domestic flights, your identity may still be checked now. This has been challenged all the way to the BIA, and they said ICE can do what they are doing. It's crazy, but that is the situation now. So the safe approach is this. If your status is not clean, if you are not clean of criminal record, if you have several DUIs, or you have a domestic violence stuff on your record, or you have been arrested for things to do with crime, even if you are not found guilty. And I think that is also part of the craziness going on right now. Even if you have not been found guilty of a charge, but if you have been charged, they can use that to deport you. Yeah, don't hate me. I'm just telling you what is that. I'm not the one who created the bad news. I'm just telling you. They can do that now. So if your status is not clean, if you yourself is not very clean, don't take unnecessary travel risk. Stay at home. Go by road. Or better still, don't go anywhere. Or if you're going to go, talk to a lawyer first. It's a serious matter. We have so many people in detention now that is crazy. And we can't do anything for them. Maybe somebody who has a DUI or domestic violence, or who has been convicted of some minor crime. It's like a joke. They pick you up at these places. They say no bond. You are sitting here, is a joke. We file the motion. They deny it. You go to you go to a federal court. They deny it, and now you have a problem. So yes, they can approach you and they can arrest you if you travel within the U.S. That's a fact. It's not rumor. If I is saying, does this not mean undocumented immigrants like my brother should stop flying completely, or what? I'm not telling you what your brother should do or not do. I'm only advising. So I'm not going to say completely they should not travel. I will say they must be careful. Some undocumented immigrants will travel domestically, but the risk level is changing. With ICE presence increasing, the margin for error is smaller. So this is no longer a casual decision. This is now a risk assessment situation. So if you don't fully understand your risk, you should not be guessing. Go spend a little money, talk to a lawyer, get clarity. Because once you take chances and they get hold of you, it's going to cost you a lot more than $100 for consultation. Even if you have the money, they may not be able to get you out of jail until your case is decided and you end up winning your case, or they deport you. So you want to be careful about that. So I'm not going to say your brother should stop flying completely, but if your brother is not clean, in terms of maybe he has some criminal record or criminal charges, or he doesn't have legal papers, yeah, if he's my brother, I'm going to tell him not to travel. I'm going to tell him not to fly. Because if they get hold of him, I'm the one I'll be running around looking for money to bail him out. I'm going to tell him straight up, don't fly. Stay in your lane until things hease up in American immigration. Right now, things are not in favor of illegal immigrants. Okay? Chukwudifu say, you said the court blocked the 10-day appeal rule. So how much time do I have now to fight my deportation order? Well, for now, you still have more time than the proposed 10-day window. Ordinarily, when you get an order, you have 30 days to file an appeal. And you also, even if that 30 days pass, you sometimes have an opportunity to do what is called motion to reopen. And then if you have a good reasons that your lawyer can come up with, they may even reopen your deportation order for you to fight your case again. But let me warn you, more time does not mean safe time. Immigration cases move fast these days, and delays can destroy your chances. So if you get a removal order, you should act immediately by getting a lawyer. I don't care how good you think you are, you need to go get an immigration lawyer immediately. Don't wait for the deadline of 30 days, because your appeal window is your lifeline. Once that appeal window closes, almost nothing else can be done for you. So you don't want to lose that. You don't want to keep saying, okay, they have removed the 10-day window, now I can wait when I get an. No, you can't wait. You have 30 days, but you want to file it as soon as you can, so that you can, before you begin to explore the other areas of reliefs that you may have. I hope you got that. All right, let's look at next question I'm seeing here. That's Abraham. Okay, what happens if someone misses their appeal deadline? Hey, you guys are talking a lot about these these orders. Do they automatically lose their case, or do they get deported? If you miss your appeal deadline, that can be very devastating to your American dream. I'm not going to lie to you. In many cases, if you miss your deadline, if you miss your appeal deadline, the deportation order becomes final, and your options become extremely limited. At that point, you may be dealing with motions to reopen or other difficult legal strategies, even assuming you even got a great lawyer. Okay? Your options become extremely limited. Motions to reopen are not cheap, and they are not automatic that they're going to grant it. So you may just end up paying a lot of money to a lot of lawyers who can't even get too much done at the end of the day. That's why I always say, never play with immigration deadlines. This is not traffic courts. This is your future. This is your American dream that is about to turn to a nightmare. So don't play with immigration deadlines. Because once that deadline passes, you may never get your case reopened again, no matter how good your lawyer is, if you don't have good cause. And what is good cause now is becoming much more difficult to establish for this immigration court. What used to be a good cause before, I didn't get the letter, or I was sick, I was in the hospital, all that BS, they don't accept them anymore. Your reasons have to be very strong before they will reopen your case. So you don't want to put yourself in that situation at all. You just want to make sure that you do your appeal quickly. Okay, let's go to the next question here. Again, please keep your questions coming as you are watching this. Please help me share the link of this live show with your friends or anybody you think might be interested in knowing more about immigration. Let's go to Jane or Jean. I says, I'm from Haiti and I've had TPS for years. If my TPS is cancelled, how quickly could I lose that status? Again, don't hate the messenger. I'm just trying to tell you the truth here. I promised you on this show, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you. So don't hate the messenger, just hate the message. If your TPS is cancelled, you can lose your status potentially very quickly, depending on how the government implements that decision. After all, temporary protected status, TPS, is temporary by design. It is not permanent. So if the Supreme Court allows the Trump government or any government to terminate a TPS, work permits can expire quickly. They probably most times allow you to finish your work permit, but the minute it's canceled, you no longer have status. So that means that even if you have a work permit, they can arrest you and deport you. And I didn't believe this could happen until I saw it a few weeks back. Somebody has a live work permit based on asylum that they filed, and they still arrested him. They said, well, the fact that you have work permit does not mean you are now legally here. The person came in illegal, file asylum. The asylum has not yet been decided. He has a work permit, and they arrested him and they put him in jail. They said he will stay there until the asylum case is decided. They're not deporting him, but they are saying that they can still arrest and put him in jail, so they didn't give him bond. And it's in jail while we are trying to process the asylum in court, even though he has a work permit that has not yet expired in his hand. So for those of you who might be wondering, having a work permit, does it give you status? No, it doesn't give you status. It only allows you to work. So if the government cancels your TPS, your work permits can expire, depending on what they said in the statement. Your legal protection has ended. Deportation risk can increase if they decide that they really want to begin to take you guys. Then they'll take you because your TPS is called temporary protected status. Once that is canceled, you are no longer protected. So sometimes there may be only a short transition period before they start deporting them. I say you have 30 days to leave the country, or 60 days, or 10 days, depending on the announcement when it is canceled. So it might be a short transition period before they deport you. Or before you lose your status, they might say your work permit will be valid until the end of the year or until the year that is on top of it. But you should never rely on that. TPS is not a permanent status or safety. Begin to look at what are my options now. What are the other things I can do to protect myself in case they cancel my TPS? If you are from Haiti, or you are from Cuba, you are from any of those places where that is in jeopardy of getting that TPS canceled, you need to start looking at your options now. I think we'll take a few more questions and then we got to go. Okay, John, again. You said the Supreme Court has agreed to decide on the Trump TPS wants to cancel. What should TPS holders be doing right now before the decision comes out? That's a good question. What should you be doing before the decision whether the Supreme Court will allow Trump to cancel the TPS comes out or not? You should be preparing, not waiting. You don't just wait for the hangman's hammer to fall on your head. They already told you the hammer is about to fall. So you should be preparing how to dodge it or how to take care of yourself. That means you need to be reviewing your other immigration options with a competent lawyer right now. You need to be consulting a lawyer. It's not a choice. You don't wait until you read in the paper that TPS has been canceled before you start running to a lawyer's office. It's already too late at that time. You need to start understanding what your backup strategies are. Because once a program ends, it's already too late to start thinking. The head is already caught. There's nothing to do at that point. So you want to make sure you are proactive. You want to go look for a lawyer now, wherever you are. If you want to talk to me, you go to speakwithope.com, book your appointment. Let's talk on Zoom if you're far away. If you don't want to book an appointment with me, go find a lawyer in your neighborhood. Go talk to somebody who knows what they are doing so that they can start helping you with your exit strategy before the TPS is canceled. Once it's canceled, it's too late most times. You're screwed. And you don't want to wait until that time. Okay, Mikhail says, you said less people are getting born now. Why are few getting born now? And is that not supposed to be unconstitutional? Mikhail, that's what I thought too, that you should have a right to your liberty, that you should have a right to be able to apply for bond and get bond as long as you are not a violent criminal. But it is what it is. Fewer people are getting bond now because policy is changing. The government is pushing more for mandatory detention policies, especially in certain states. That means more people are being held. Fewer people are being released when they catch you. And the judges have less flexibility in some situations. So the system is becoming stricter. I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. I deal in reality. Before, if you're coming illegally, like I said, you're coming across the border and all that, and they catch you later, and all that, you still get, your lawyer can still apply for bond for you, and you get a bond from $500 to $10,000. The judge will set somewhere in between for you, depending on your situation. But now they have come up with a new policy, Section 235, where they are saying if you came in illegally, you are not really technically in the country. You are what is called an intending visitor. You are not yet here, even though you might have been here for 20 years. They are saying you are not inspected. So you are not here. As far as the law is concerned, you are still applying to come to America. So when they arrest you, you are not entitled to bond, meaning that you are going to stay in jail until your case is decided. Even if you are married to an American or you have been here for 10 years and have reliefs. For instance, if you have a child that is born here and you have been here for 10 years, you are entitled to what is called cancellation of removal. That's a relief that the judge probably will give you if your lawyer can document it well. But they are saying now that even though you have that relief coming, you have to stay in jail until that case is decided, because you are not yet, quote and unquote, in America. You are still at the border trying to enter. It doesn't make sense, but that's what they are saying. They're saying you are an intending or you are an applicant, even though you have been here 10 years, even though you have children here, even though you have business here, but because you didn't come in legally, you don't get bond anymore. Those that they are considering bonds for are those who came in with a visa and then the visa expired. They will consider you for bond on that. In other words, you are an overstay. They are saying you have already applied, you have already been in the country. So the Constitution protects you from unreasonable detention. So you are able to apply for bond, and then the judge may give you, it's even a may, and then the judge may set a high bond because their priority now is not to release anybody once they catch them. And then even if you came in with a visa and your visa had expired, and like I said, that makes you eligible to apply for bond. But if you have a criminal record or you have been charged for a serious crime, let's say, for instance, they've charged you for child abuse or domestic violence, even if you are not found guilty, and this is where it's crazy, they can use that as a basis not to give you bond. The judge will just say, deny. When you appeal it, the appeal court is backing the government now. Though some district courts, the federal district courts, some of them are pushing back now. We are filing what is called habeas corpus, especially if you have no criminal record, you came in legally, or several circumstances are in your favor. Maybe you have been here for a long time. Then we can file for habeas corpus, and a couple of judges are already fighting back, and they are ordering some of those people to be released. But it's a long process, and it's an expensive process. So that is why a lot of people are, why fewer people are getting bond these days. And just like you, I thought it was unconstitutional. But we are having some federal courts who are saying they can do that, especially for those who came in illegal or those who have criminal records as illegal aliens. They are saying it is constitutional to keep them in jail until their case is decided. Don't hate me, hate the game. Sophie, it says if someone is detained now, does that mean they will stay in detention until their case is over? I know it sounds crazy. That's what you are looking at, although not always. But the chances of staying longer have increased. In the past, more people could get bond and continue their case outside detention. In other words, they're coming from home to attend immigration court. But now, there are fewer bond hearings. There are stricter rules to giving you bond, as I just explained it. Okay, if you came in illegal across the border and you are not inspected, they are saying you are not even entitled to bond at all. They are saying if you have criminal record or you have been charged for some crimes, you can be denied bond entirely. So there are now longer detention periods. So detention is becoming a more serious and prolonged situation. In fact, we are seeing a lot of people now who, rather than continue to stay in jail, will just sign deportation papers. They don't want to fight their case because it's taking too long in court. They just want to be taken to their country. And that is why prevention is better than cure. That is why prevention is better than cure. I knew this one was coming because you have had me use the word arriving alien, inspected alien. This person says, he didn't put his name, I'm hearing a lot about arriving alien and inspected alien, and that it determines who gets bond, who does not get bond when arrested. What is the difference between them, between arriving alien and inspected alien, and why does it matter? This is a very, very technical question. A lot of us lawyers don't even understand it. So you know how tough it is. It's an excellent question that is really raging right now. And this is one of those legal terms that sounds technical, but can change your entire immigration case. So I'm going to try my best to break it down in simple English. So starting with what is an inspected alien? An inspected alien is someone who came to a U.S. port of entry, let's say Chicago, let's say Indiana, let's say Miami, either by air or whatever. It was stopped by an immigration officer and was officially admitted into the U.S. after speaking to an immigration officer. That means you entered with a visa or were admitted at the border after speaking to an immigration officer at the border, or you are paroled into the U.S. Even if your visa later expires, you are still said to have been inspected and admitted. Those people are eligible for bond if they arrest them because you are inspected at a point of entry. That's called an inspected alien. On the other hand, an arriving alien is a little bit different. Not a little bit, a lot different. An arriving alien is someone who is still considered to be at the border, even though he probably owns a house in America already and lives in America. Or someone is considered somebody still seeking entry into the U.S., even if he's already in the U.S. It's crazy, but that's what they mean. This includes people who are either at the airport trying to enter, are stopped at the border, or sometimes, like I said, those who are even in the U.S., but they are legally treated as if they have not yet entered. They are treated as arriving alien. And why does this difference matter? It matters a lot. It's a big difference maker. This is where things get very, very serious. Because your classification affects your rights, what part of the Constitution protects you, it affects your options, and it affects your chances of staying in the U.S. For instance, let me give some example because this is the last question we're going to be taking for tonight. If you are inspected and admitted, you may be eligible to apply for a green card inside the United States if you qualify. In other words, if you are inspected and admitted at the point of entry, even if your status has now expired and you got married to a U.S. citizen, you can stay here and get your green card. But if you are treated as an arriving alien, that option may be limited or handled very differently. You may not be eligible to get your green card here, even though you have a job or you are married to a citizen, so it makes a big difference. Let's look at the bond and detention rules, and this is a big one. If you are classified as an arriving alien, you may not be eligible for bond. In many situations, they won't even give you bond at all, meaning that you can be detained with fewer chances of getting a release. But if you are inside the U.S. and admitted, then you have more options to request for bond. Another distinction is in the removal process, the deportation process. Arriving aliens, those who are treated as arriving aliens, they are often put in stricter and faster processes. In other words, if nobody inspected you at the point of entry and you are treated as an arriving alien, you have less flexibility. They make faster decisions on your case. There's fewer protections under the Constitution in many cases. So I know it's a bit confusing which one is inspected and admitted, which one is arriving alien. But there's a simple way for you to remember it that I also try to use to remember it. If you are inspected and admitted, that means you are inside the system. You are protected by the Constitution. You are protected by the laws inside the country. If you are an arriving alien, it don't matter where you are, whether you are still at the border or for some reason you are in your house in Nebraska. If you are considered an arriving alien, you are still at the gate trying to get in which case the laws of the land do not protect you. That's one way to remember it. Being treated as an arriving alien is very bad. It means that you are still at the gate of America trying to get in, even though immigration is looking at you right inside of Omaha or New York. And the law treats those two people differently, inspected and admitted. You are in the system. The law treats you different. You are an arriving alien. In other words, nobody inspected and admitted you when you got into the country. You are treated differently. So here's my own warning here. This is not just a label for the person who asked that question. It can determine whether you stay or be removed without protections of the law, without due process protection. It determines whether you can apply for a green card or not. Being treated as inspected and admitted or an arriving alien determines whether you can fight your case from outside detention or inside detention. If you're an arriving alien, you are going to be fighting your case while you're in jail. If you're already inspected and admitted, then you get bond. You can be going on with your life while you are fighting your case. That's how serious it is. So if you're not sure how you are classified, and I agree this is a very technical thing, don't assume, don't guess. Because this is exactly the kind of issue where one misunderstanding can cost you everything. I will advise you, book a strategy session. Preferably with me at speakwithope.com or with any lawyer of your choice. I'm not just saying you have to come to me. If you have a good lawyer you trust that is competent, that is good, go talk to them. Let us look at your case properly. Because when the rules are this technical, you don't need guesswork. You need a Rottweiler. You need an Immigration Rottweiler. You need somebody who's going to be dogged on your case. So that's probably all we can answer for today. So if you want your question answered on this show, please drop it in the comments. As you're watching live now, if you miss the live recording and you're watching the replay, drop your comments with my paralegals actually scour all our social media to get those comments, those questions, so that we can see how many of them we can accommodate in our next broadcast. Or you can go to the link, Ope Banwo, speakwithope.com, and book a consultation if your question can't wait and you want to talk to me directly. Because the truth is simple. Immigration mistakes are expensive, but the right information can change your life. Yes, that is how serious we are in America right now. America is still a place to be hopeful. The American dream is still alive and well. You just need to structure yourself well. I don't believe in panic. I don't believe in feeling hopeless. I believe in rising up to meet the challenge of the day, which is getting your case properly documented, getting professionals to help you. This is no longer just about something that you can do by yourself. This is something you need professionals to help you with. There's so many options for you to get your papers in America. There are visas you have never even heard of that you may be qualified for. Visas like T visa, U visa, okay? And all those other visas, they are out there. So your case is not hopeless. America is still a nation of immigrants. It's just that now they need you to be better structured. They need you to be better organized. And they need you to come with competency. So you get a competent lawyer. It's no longer something you can just download the form and just fill it out and you get a green card anymore. Right? So I'm going to play the part 4 of my story, why I fight for immigrants. If you go to my website, banwolaw.net, You can watch the full story of how and why I came to America and why I'm dedicated to the immigrant cause. banwolaw.net. You'll see the full video there. It's about 10 minutes, but I'll play a 1-minute segment for you on these visa options I just talked about. And when I come back, we will close the show for tonight. But as I began researching more into immigration law in the library, I discovered something even more shocking. There were dozens of legal pathways available to immigrants, not just asylum as I thought. There were visas for extraordinary ability, visas for athletes, visa for performance, employment-based visas, several of them, family petitions, investor visas. Many highly educations around me could have qualified for visas like O visa, EB1 visa, or EB2 visas, visas that could have given them permanent residency. But they didn't even know those options existed. So they lived underground, fueled by rumors of those around them, working out jobs with their degrees, hiding from immigration, living far below their potential. And then I also saw something even more heartbreaking for me. So some immigrants, when they finally gathered the courage to apply for legal relief, but when immigration scheduled them for interviews or court hearings, they ran away. Based on the advice of others, they believed the interview was a trap. What they didn't realize was that running away often destroyed their chances permanently of staying in this country. That's it, guys. On the next show, we'll play the concluding part of my story and why I fight for immigrants. Until the next show, take care of yourself, be proactive, get a lawyer to look into your case. Preferably, come talk to the Rottweiler. Book an appointment now, speakwithope.com. Stay safe, and that's all we got. Good night.